welcome and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast tonight, the first shipment of propane storage tanks for WAPA's LPG project arrived on Wednesday. Members of the media were invited to witness the unloading of the tanks, along with WAPA's team and executives from Vital. The company partnered with WAPA to help the conversion project. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
You know, this is one of the days that will be forever remembered in WAPA's history. Today we saw the propane storage tanks being unloaded right here at the container port after 15 days at sea. Officials say this is one of the days that consumers should look forward to, since it means lower electric costs are coming. WAPA officials, board members, and the governor were all present Wednesday to witness the first shipment of propane storage tanks for the utilities conversion to liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, project.
The first delivery are 8 of the tanks. There are 18 in all. You have 8 for St. Croix, 10 for St. Thomas.
We've got ships being constructed, almost finished in Japan. We've got permits to berth a large vessel at sea that will store the gas. We've got conversions going on to the generators themselves.
The empty storage tanks will be housed at St. Croix South Shore before being barged to WAPA.
All 18 will come here, then 8 will move to St. Croix to the plant, and then 10 will move to St. Thomas to the plant there by barge.
Wednesday's offloading of the tanks marked significant progress in WAPA's goal to introduce other energies. Officials say they expect to see the utilities' fuel costs drop by 30% annually.
You're going to see your WAPA bill go down, and that means you're going to see more money in your pocket.
Governor DeYoung was able to tour the barge that brought the tanks. He has steadily pushed the issue of reducing the territory's dependency on fossil fuel.
What we're seeing here today, coupled with what you're doing over in Spanish Town and what you're doing in St. Thomas, really shows that the Water and Power Authority and the management and the board understand more than anything that a savings on power is actually a salary increase for many of us in this community.
The next step will be installing the tanks.
The civil contract has been awarded. They'll be building the walls up. We'll put them in, and then we'll cover them and mount them.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
The storage tanks were made in Belgium, then moved to Holland before being shipped to the VI. Residents can stay up to date with the project's progress online at www.poweringvi.vi. The 14 senators present for Wednesday's special session voted unanimously to approve 2 bills that would benefit the Port Authority. Port Authority officials testified asking senators to approve a CZM permit that would allow the authority to dredge Crown Bay ahead of a November deadline. The second measure required senators' approval for the authority to refinance bonds to fund critical infrastructure projects within both districts. Wednesday's session was the second called by the governor in as many weeks.
I am in support of doing this only because I'm a member of the Committee of Economic Development, so I had the opportunity to actually ask all the environmental concerns about these projects. So I understand the importance of, jobs for the residents, the cruise ships, threatening that it won't be accessible to the port. I understand all of that. St. Croix need Army Corps of Engineers permits also. And I just find it interesting that we look at projects based on probably what island it's on and show the urgency more for another island.
The Bureau of Economic Research released the results of a recent study called for by the governor. The results show that the VI would lose more than $18 million if the territory lost 13 cruise ship calls. That could be a possibility if important dredging of the Crown Bay port wasn't allowed to happen. The governor asked the Bureau to crunch the numbers in the event senators voted to delay the coastal zone permit on the table in Wednesday's special session. Upon learning of the Senate's vote Wednesday, the governor applauded the senators and expressed his appreciation for the 14 present. Senator Craig Barshinger was absent from Wednesday's proceedings. Meanwhile, the governor has been advised by the Secretary of the Interior that the Virgin Islands has been awarded $50,000 of the fiscal year 2014 Certificate of Apportionment for Land and Water Conservation Fund, State and Local Assistance Grant Program that distributes funds to the 50 states, American Samoa, the District of Columbia, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands for state-identified outdoor recreation projects. The amount distributed to each state is determined by formula pursuant to the Land and Water Conservation Act of 1965. The Virgin Islands has received a total of $2.2 million since the inception of the program. And just a reminder, in other news, One Voice Virgin Islands will be conducting a press conference on Thursday, July 24th at 10 a.m. at the Emancipation Garden. Now, the purpose of this press conference is to inform the media and the public on their position on the proposed same-sex marriage bill that Senator Judy Buckley is introducing. Your participation and any questions you may have about their position on the issue of same-sex marriage is welcomed. Again, that's on Thursday, July 24th at 10 a.m. at Emancipation Garden. One St. Croix man is recovering after being shot while he was sitting in his car. The shooting happened Friday night after 9, just outside the Lorraine Village Apartments. The 29-year-old victim told police he was just sitting in his car when someone fired shots at him.
The victim was shot in his face and his stomach. He told police that after the shooting, he drove to his girlfriend's house and they both went to the hospital. He also told police that he did not know who shot him or why anyone would want to shoot him. This case is being investigated by the Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives.
Be sure to count on News 2 to keep you updated. Turning our attention overseas, it's a day of remembrance and grief in the Netherlands, the country that lost the most amount of people on the downed Malaysian jetliner. The remains of about 200 of the plane's 298 victims arrived from Ukraine on a national day of mourning as the investigation continues. Mark Albert reports.
Down crime. When the bodies of those killed on Malaysia Air Flight 17 arrived at a Dutch airbase Wednesday afternoon, they were given military honors. The victims died in a war zone. Flags of the 11 nations whose citizens perished on Malaysia Air Flight 17 were lowered to half-staff, and mourners lined the miles-long route as the hearses passed by.
They want the children back. That's important for the family.
But the bodies of up to 100 of the passengers are still missing. At the crash site in eastern Ukraine, investigators resumed the search for remains and for whatever evidence might be left from a trampled-down crime scene. British investigators looking at the plane's cockpit voice recorder say they downloaded valid data, and the black boxes showed no signs of being tampered with. The U.S. says even though it believes pro-Russian separatists were the ones who brought down the airliner, Russia also bears some of the blame.
They would not be there doing what they're doing, period. So they could fire an SA-11 without the support of President Putin and the Russian government.
Meanwhile, fighting continues. Ukraine claims missiles fired from Russia brought down 2 of its fighter jets on Wednesday, not far from where MH17 came down. Mark Albert for CBS News, Washington.
Keeping our eye on the economy, General Motors is issuing 6 more recalls covering some 700,000 vehicles and more than 20 models. Some of the problems include potentially faulty seats, turn signals, and power steering. The Federal Aviation Administration, in other news, says U.S. airlines are still banned from flying to Tel Aviv. The FAA says the ban will continue as it assesses the danger of rocket attacks in the Israeli city. Many European airlines are also avoiding Tel Aviv. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow down 26, NASDAQ and S&P up, NASDAQ 17, S&P 3. Coming up on News 2, the Department of Education releases the school calendar, some dates to keep in mind. Plus, we love those aerial shots of the Virgin Islands, but how about seeing them firsthand? Enjoy a bird's eye view of what we see every day. Our summer fun segment is coming up. The 2014-2015 school calendar was signed Tuesday by Governor John P. Young Jr. and officially released by the Department of Education. According to the calendar, opening and closing dates for school are September 2nd, 2014 and June 19th, 2015, respectively. Donna Fred Gregory said in constructing this calendar, they worked diligently to address a number of concerns including the inclusion of professional development days for teachers and staff, in keeping with the commitment to implementing the Common Core state standards. It is critical for teachers to be trained and fully prepared to ramp up the quality of instructions for our students. Now be sure to log on to www.vide.vi. The calendar is on their website. Holidays, semester dates, and report card distribution dates are all listed. LAP3 or LAP3 assessments are taking place this week and next week for incoming kindergartners on St. Thomas. St. Thomas St. John Superintendent Jeanette Smith-Barry is asking that parents bring their children in to participate in these mandatory assessments any day for the rest of this week or next week at either 8:30 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. The sites are Gomez Elementary and Lockhart Elementary Schools on St. Thomas. The assessments will take place approximately 2 hours to complete. For more information, you can call 340-775-2250. Well, summertime is a great time to sharpen your computer skills. UEI Cell Center will be hosting an introductory course to help individuals learn the basic operations of Microsoft Word. Introduction to Microsoft 2010 will be held 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays beginning August 12th. Classes will be held at the UVI Cell Center at the University of the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas campus. In this course, students will master the basic skills and techniques in a hands-on environment. For fees or information on the program, be sure to call 693-1100 or you can visit UVI Cell online. Meanwhile, the University of the Virgin Islands Campus East Group will be hosting a block party for the next St. Thomas St. John Chamber of Commerce Business After Hours. The networking event will be held from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 24th, again at the UVI Cell Center. The event serves as an opportunity to showcase the services of the university's components located at Campus East to the USVI community. The components include UVI's Eastern Caribbean Center, the UVI Cell Center, and the Virgin Islands Experimental Program to stimulate competitive research. There will be complimentary hors d'oeuvres, door prizes, and the famous chamber bar and raffles. Well, summertime is a great time to get some activities in. Want to take a tour of the island from a different angle? Helicopter tours in the Virgin Islands is really only one way to enjoy the beauty of the islands. There are few companies in the VI and BVI that can take you on 30-minute tours, offering you the bird's eye view. Now you can check out the east end of St. Thomas, the north shore of St. John, the west end of Tortola, over Dios Van Dyke, and all the keys in between. Experience the wind in your face as you explore downtown St. Thomas. Take some awesome photos. For the romantic at heart, you can plan a trip around the full moon. Think about taking one of these 15 or 30-minute tours around the islands by moonlight. See the stunning sights, city lights with the island chain and Caribbean Sea lit by the moon. Star Productions, Inc. want to take you to Neverland as they present Disney's Peter Pan Jr., the classic story of Wendy's adventure in Neverland with the boy who refused to grow up. With Tinkerbell by his side, Peter Pan leads Wendy and her brothers on a fantastical flight filled with song and dance. The stars, students of theater arts and repertoire, are a group of 6 to 16-year-olds who have been working for 4 weeks under the direction of Jan Hart. Peter Pan Jr. runs on Friday and Saturday, July 25th and 26th at 8 p.m. at the Caribbean Community Theater in Christiansted. You can visit their website for more information, stcroixstars.com. Well, Tropical Depression 2 has degenerated into a tropical wave and should move through the Lesser Antilles this evening. The system is not expected to impact the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it could continue to weaken over the next day or so, and that's according to the National Hurricane Center. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.